What's up, y'all? Die Hard 2.0, back in the building. Sorry I've been MIA for a minute, as I usually am. Always got a lot going on, but it's cool. I'm here to bring y'all some dope content, and I got to touch on something. I'm pretty late on it. About a week and a half ago, we had that snow front, that cold front, whatever, that big cold storm, and we lost like 50 some people died. And let's take a moment of silence for those people, please. RIP to those people, condolences to their family, and I'm sorry for y'all's losses. But to get into that subject, us as people, we got to prepare more and stop relying on just the government. But before I even get into all that, on the government's aspect too, government, y'all got approved for 40 billion for disaster relief, and y'all knew this was coming. So where was the National Guard? I didn't see not one state with a National Guard deployed. Why didn't National Guard? Why weren't they on standby? Where was all that national disaster relief? Every state's got a National Guard, and that's usually what they use them for. So that was really a big eye opener for me, and I hope it is for a lot of y'all out there. If y'all haven't thought about that and looked at that, and big letdown on the government's part. But and that 40 billion, if y'all can't help us in a disaster that was expected, that y'all knew for almost a week that was coming, why not give it to our communities? Like, we could use that in our communities for a lot of good. But it's probably just gone in somebody's pockets. But anyways, aside from that, even we can't just blame government, because these people probably could have made it through if they were a little prepared, because it was only a couple days. But you know, as people, we got too spoiled on the government, relying on the government to be there for us, and as humans, we can't keep doing that. We should be more prepared. You know, like, as a human being, you want to survive no matter what. Don't matter what the circumstance is or the case. You want to survive, right? So you should be able to survive a natural disaster. Because guess what? Even though they don't happen often, let me remind you, they're going to happen. It's not if, it's when. So stop running around out here unprepared altogether, because you still got to buy yourself time. Even if the government can get to you, it's going to take them a little time, especially in the snow. So you should be able to sustain for a couple days at least. If you're in your vehicle, like a lot of these people were, you should have stuff in your vehicle to help you. Even if you break down, what if you break down in the middle of nowhere? There's roads in the U.S. that you don't see a gas station for 100 miles. What would you do if you break down and there's nowhere for 50 to 100 miles and you ain't got nothing in your vehicle? So even if it ain't a natural disaster, stupidity could get you killed. But we need to do better as humans to be prepared. So in your vehicle, you should at least have a go bag. I'm not even going to get into all that. That'll be another video that y'all can watch later. I'll do that later on, but y'all should have a go bag. I actually got a couple of them. There's 2 small ones down there that I have. But you should have a go bag that can get you by for at least 2 to 3 days. You should have one in your vehicle, at least one. If not, maybe more. You should have maybe one thing of water, like at least a 2-gallon thing of water. Because you never know what could happen. I mean, like I said, you break down in the middle of nowhere. So also, blankets are a good thing to have in your vehicle. Blankets would have did these people a lot of good. There was also there was an instance in Virginia where I'm at, and I can't remember the details, so please don't quote me, but some people had got stranded on the road from another storm, and they were broken down on the road from the cold and stranded on the road for like a day or so, and they had blankets in their cars, and luckily a lot of people were like, yeah, luckily the blankets got us through, and even other people that had extra blankets were giving people them. So blankets are another good thing to keep in your car. and they can always be used to cover up any like valuable belongings that you keep in your cars. If you leave them in there, you can just kind of toss them on there. Um, Jumper cables, given. You need to have all the essentials in your car: jumper cables, funnel, or a little extra oil for your vehicle, some antifreeze slash coolant, if not water, at bare minimum. But you know, during the summertime, that's not going to be too good, or if it's too cold during the winter. Uh, Spare tire, a good jack, some of those small little cheap jacks from the factory, replace them with a decent one. Um, a flashlight, have all the bare necessities in your vehicle, so that way if you get broken down, uh, you can get yourself somewhere. A spare fuel can. If you want to carry fuel in it, that's up to you. At least have the spare fuel can. So if you come across someone, they can get you gas, or if you're in walking distance, you can't get to it. I actually even just bought one of the the inflators that you can plug into the cigarette lighter, because one of my tires keep losing air pressure, and I keep having to go to gas stations, and sometimes I'm not near one, and I'm sitting here to go slow on a tire that's low. So I just got one of those. That's another good thing to keep in your vehicle. I got my little notes here to keep me on track, y'all. Sorry. But also, as people all together, we need to be more prepared at your house. Even you should have a box labeled storm supplies. I have a tote downstairs named labeled storm supplies, and I keep candles in it. I learned that the hard way one time when I was younger. I lost electricity. No cap. Like, lost electricity for about a week, and I would stay out with my friends and hang out with them. And then at night, I had a bag of tea light candles. If you can't afford a whole bunch of big, nice candles, go buy you a bag of tea light candles, and you can put those on saucers and little, metal or glass saucers that you have for, eating on. And I would put those out and get the house warm so I could get settled and go to sleep. And then I get up and, do my thing the next day. But yeah, I've been through the struggle, so I learned that the hard way. Keep you some candles on standby. I mean, even if it ain't you losing your electricity because of some stupid stuff like that. Like, what if your power's out for a couple days and it's the middle of the winter? Um, Actually, they came in handy one time for me. Some guy hit my electricity pole at the end of my street, and we were out of power for a day and a half. And it was the middle of the night, and the power went out, and I had to light candles through the house. It helped keep the house warm. It was late fall at that point, so candles come in handy. Keep those, batteries, flashlights, blankets. Again, I keep my kids' big Kool-Aid things and my big plastic empty jugs that after we drink stuff, I'll clean it out and fill it with filtered water. And my wife used to make fun of me all the time until we had some work going on at the house, and we were without water for like 2 days, and I was able to still flush the toilet because we could use our water that I had stored. And she was like, "Oh, thank God," because we had to use the bathroom, and that was the only way we had running water to flush the toilet, because they were replacing the water supply lines. But yeah, so as people, we need to stop being so reliant on the government. Like, they ain't always out here preparing to take care of us like y'all, like they tell us they are. So stop buying into that. Don't don't get comfortable relying on that. And then I'm a real strong believer, as a man and a caretaker of my family, I should be prepared to take care of my family, because at the end of the day, I got to answer to a higher power, and I got to live with that on my conscience. If something happens to my family and it's because I'm out here not prepared, like, that, no, I can't live with that. And then on top of that, if you're out here buying all these designer clothes, men, stop getting so caught up in society, going out here spending money on these designer clothes. I like to get fly sometimes. I like to get fresh, dress up. Me and my wife go out, but I save my nice stuff for that occasion. Stop only, doing that and not preparing for what could happen, what will happen eventually, because then when disaster hits, or when something bad happens, when shit hits the fan or anything, ain't gotta be no war scenario. Everybody's always like thinking it's war. Nah, what if a crazy storm hits and you can't fend for yourself or your family? You gonna sit there and look at your family like, here, you want my Fendi jacket? You want my clothes to wear? Like, they ain't gonna do nothing for you. Your Jordans ain't gonna help you survive. Ain't nobody gonna want to barter with Jordans when the end of the world or disaster done hit. They want food. They want water. They may even want some of these bullets. Yeah. So, as caretakers of a family, men especially, be prepared. Take in some knowledge. We got the internet at the touch of a finger. Take a minute every now and then to teach yourself stuff about how to survive. Do any of y'all know the 333 rule? If you know the 333 rule, y'all, please comment down below and tell me what y'all think the 333 survival rule is, please. But and then physical fitness. I'm not in the best physical fitness, but I try to keep myself I try to keep myself in shape, and my wife's always like, "Why are you working out? Why do you work out all the time?" And I tell her, "What if I have to carry my child? What if I have to pick my child up and run, and also defend? You can't do that if you're not physically fit. You can't do that if you don't sit there and make sure that your body's in decent shape." So, something to think about, y'all. And then think about the families that didn't die in the vehicles, but may have been on the verge. Think about the men that may have, been with their families or their children, or even the men by themselves. You know how embarrassed they probably feel? You know how, they might not say it, but you know how pathetic and sad they probably felt as an individual? Like, damn, I almost froze to death just because I ain't have bare essentials to be prepared and survive. Especially the people that might have been wearing $200 Jordans and, over, $500 worth of clothes on them and, jewelry and all that. But they won't go out here and spend a couple $100 on survival stuff. They'll go out there and buy that Glock, though. You know what I'm saying? That glizzy, they'll go buy that glizzy. Nah. But nah, for real, y'all. Think about that. Think about that. And then think about the women that was with them. Like, damn, all I thought about was his charger, his Hellcat, or his jewelry, or his J's, and he could spoil me and stuff, but ain't none of that stuff do no good when I was on the verge of starving or, fucking freezing to death, or possibly dying of carbon monoxide poisoning because don't nobody take the time to feed their brain. They're not, feed themselves knowledge, but they'll sit there and feed themselves rap lyrics all day. They'll feed themselves knowledge on the new phone, the new iPhone that came out. Step it up, y'all. Stop being so spoiled and acting like kids. It's time, once you hit past them high 20s, you should be feeding yourself better fruit. You know what I'm saying? If you know what I'm saying. Like, come on, man. But, yeah, I mean, you got to be able to sustain yourself at least until the government can get to you. So it's not all just on them, but the government definitely need to come up off some of that money. $40 billion in disaster relief, no National Guard. Nah. And we got homeless all over. We got, we're on the verge of another recession. So we need to get some different people in office and switch up. And that's another thing, people ain't ready to take that stand because they don't want to give up cell phone use and cell phone towers and AC and heat and all. But that's another video. We'll get into all that. But be prepared, y'all. Have everything in your vehicle so you can get by at least for a couple days, whether it be for cold disaster, hot disaster, flooding. That's another thing. Half of my friends don't know how to swim. I'm like, bro, you don't know how to swim? I'm like, yo, if Katrina had hit and you were down there, that's how a lot of them people died. They didn't know how to swim. Running, climbing, and swimming are survival techniques and instincts that us as humans evolved and got to know how to do, because we should know how to. That's how we survived back in the day from animals. You know what I'm saying? Like we could do all of it. Most animals can't do all of it. Think about that. Like we can go from land, sea, air, water, all that. You know, we can't fly yet, but I don't know. One day we might. No, but yeah, you should know how to swim. You should be in physically decent shape, and you should have your bare essentials to get you by for a couple days. If you ain't got all that, you're failing as a human being, and as as wanting to survive. So yeah, think about that. But until then, like and subscribe, and catch y'all later, man.